the end cover of the bending outlet pipe, take out the cleaning sponge ball, install the end cover, and then clean the hopper. Clean the complete truck-mounted concrete pump. Turn the cooling, cleaning, hand-controlled directional valve to the cleaning state. Clean the truck-mounted concrete pump's walking platform, boom and driver's cabin, etc. with a water gun. Fold the booms. Operate the remote controller to fold booms in turn according to the sequence, and then place the boom on its supports. Press the power emergency stop button on the remote controller. Turn the power key switch to the anti-clockwise direction from 1 to 0 to power off the remote controller. The 44, 46, and 49-meter booms of truck-mounted concrete pump are equipped with the RZ-type folding pattern. More attention should be paid no matter whether there is any interference between the booms or between boom and the connecting rod during folding, and if interfered happens, properly adjust the folding sequence. During the folding of the booms, if there is a certain boom fails to move while operating, properly adjust the angle of other booms and then move it. Don't forcibly fold booms with high pressure. Retract the outriggers. Turn the panel control remote control switch to remote control. Turn the key switch of the button box on the outrigger to outrigger. Make sure that there is no one standing in the outrigger working area. According to indication provided on the operating direction board at the control lever of outriggers, press the outrigger button and operate the levers of the left and right outriggers of the truck-mounted concrete pump at the same time to retract the front and rear outriggers in turn. Lock the mechanical locks of all outriggers and plug into the bolts. Turn on the unloading switch to release the pressure of the accumulator and hydraulic pipe. Adjust the rotate speed of the engine to idle speed and check whether the buttons and control levers on the electric control cabinet, remote controller, and control stands of the truck-mounted concrete pump are in non-work position. Operation of driving. Enter the driver's cab and step on the clutch. Place the gear shift lever to neutral position. Turn the drive work changeover switch on the panel inside the driver's cab to the drive side. In this case, the driver indicator lights would light. For the truck-mounted concrete pumps equipped with Hino or Isuzu chassis, PTO button must be turned off before driving. Otherwise, the fuel consumption may increase while driving. Now, the truck-mounted concrete pump enters into the driving state. Maintenance. To ensure high efficiency, safety, and reliable operation and long service lifetime of the truck-mounted concrete pump, it is very important and necessary to regularly, properly maintain it. The truck-mounted concrete pump must be regularly examined and maintained by the professionals according to the requirements provided in the related manuals because of the bad working environment of the truck-mounted concrete pump.
Just now, we emphatically introduced how to operate the truck-mounted concrete pump. Now let's start another important work. That is the overhaul and maintenance of the truck-mounted concrete pump. You should not only master the operation, but also frequently do the maintenance. If a truck-mounted concrete pump cannot be taken good maintenance after the completion of construction, it may lose its temper occasionally.
Warning: failure to regularly examine and maintain the truck-mounted concrete pump may cause functional failures. Please remember to maintain it strictly in accordance with the requirements of the manual. Routine maintenance and check. To ensure the normal operation of the truck-mounted concrete pump, the operator should conduct routine check of the following items before and after each construction operation and during constructing. Drain the water deposited in the bottom of the oil tank before starting the vehicle, and at the same time opens the drain valve in the bottom of the oil tank to discharge water every 50 hours of accumulated working time. Check functions of all the electrical components are in normal condition. Check whether the swing of the pumping directional control valve and distribution valve are regularly and whether the normal and reverse revolving actions of the mixing device are regular. Fully refill the lubricating oil tank and all lubricating points with lubricating oil and the water tank with fresh water. Check the working conditions of the lubricating system and check whether the indication rod of the progressive oil separator can move back and forth and whether the lubricating oil overflows from the bearing position of the mixing shaft and the bearing position that at the end of the S-tube swinging arm. Check whether there is any mortar enters into the water tank and whether the concrete pistons need to be replaced. When mortar is found in the water tank, immediately check the concrete piston and replace it if it is damaged. The procedures for replacing the pistons are as follows. Remove the cover from the water tank. Raise the pressing plate and remove the locating sleeve, respectively. Shut off the ball valve in the U-pipe located at the end of the pumping oil cylinder. Inch the main oil cylinder after all concrete pistons exiting from the concrete cylinder. Dismantle the connecting bolts. Remove the concrete pistons and replace the damaged ones. Install the concrete pistons, respectively. Tighten the connecting bolts. Open the ball valve in the U-pipe located at the end of the pumping oil cylinder. Shut down the engine, install the locating sleeve and cover board of the water tank, and automatically pump the concrete for more than 10 times. Check the weary degree of the concrete pipe by knocking and check whether each pipe joint is tightly sealed. Check the anti-wearing plate and cutting ring and whether the clearance between the anti-wearing plate and the cutting ring is normal. Replace those of excessively worn. Adjustment of the clearance between the anti-wearing plate and the cutting ring. Clean the hopper and S-tube. Unscrew the thrust bolts. Tighten the nuts and draw S-tube towards the back plate of the hopper to minimize the clearance between the cutting ring and the anti-wearing plate. Tighten the thrust bolts. Replacement of the cutting ring and anti-wearing plate. Replacement of the cutting ring. Shut down the engine, release the pressure of the accumulator, and take out the hopper screen. Release the nuts 20 millimeters. Do not release it excessively, otherwise the bearing fitting may exit from the bearing sleeve when the S-tube recedes, and that may cause damage to the seals and affect the service lifetime of S-tube. Remove the outlet flange and prise the S-tube toward the outlet direction to adjust the clearance between the cutting ring and the anti-wearing plate to about 20 millimeters. Then take out the cutting ring. Check whether the installed rubber spring is damaged and replace it if there is any damage. Install a new cutting ring. Replacement of anti-wearing plate. Repeat the procedures of taking out the cutting ring. Remove all the mounted bolts from the anti-wearing plate and take out the anti-wearing plate after slight vibration. Install a new anti-wearing plate. Check the exterior of the cooler and remove all the dirt from it, otherwise it may cause the oil temperature to be over high. Check whether there is oil leakage in the hydraulic system, whether the seal of the oil tank lid is loose, or whether there is water or air leakage. Check the hydraulic oil level. The oil level should be about 3/4 of the oil level indicator and fill it up if not. The oil should be light yellow and transparent without emulsification or turbidity symptom. Otherwise, it should be replaced, and the hydraulic oil of truck-mounted concrete pump should be completely replaced after half a year of operation. Check whether the inner surface of the concrete cylinder is oxidized or worn. Check whether the air pressure of the accumulator is sufficient. The charging pressure of the large accumulator should be 8 to 9 MPa. Please charge it if the pressure is insufficient. Determination of operation. When the distributing pressure reaches 16 MPa, the distributing pressure should normally have only 3 to 8 MPa pressure drop at the moment when the swinging oil cylinder swings. If the distributing pressure drops too much, for example, it drops from 16 MPa to 5 MPa or even below 5 MPa, it indicates that the accumulator bladder has no air or the air pressure is insufficient. Strip inspection determination. Remove the protective nuts from the charging retaining valve of the accumulator and push the core of the retaining valve E with a small inner hexagon spanner or iron wire. It should be removable. If it is removable, the air pressure in the accumulator bladder is insufficient or the bladder is damaged. Nitrogen filling method of accumulator. Remove the protective nuts from the charging valve of the accumulator and connect one end of the charging tool to the nitrogen gas bottle and the other end to the accumulator. Slowly open the air valve of the nitrogen gas bottle. Close the nitrogen gas bottle valve when the reading of the pressure gauge reaches the specified value. Keep it for about 20 minutes and check whether the pressure drops. Disconnect the joint of charging tool from the accumulator and remove the charging tool. Tighten the protection cap of the safety valve of the accumulator. Caution: the accumulator can be charged only with nitrogen gas, and the charging pressure must meet the specified requirements. Replacement method of the accumulator bladder. Remove the accumulator and unscrew the protective nut from the charge valve. Release the charge valve and release the nitrogen pressure of the bladder. Then remove the charging valve, compression nut, and the air drainage plug. Remove the locking nut, washer, and O-ring, etc. And push the valve assembly into the casing to separate the valve body from the semicircle clamp. Then take out the semicircle clamp, valve body assembly, etc., respectively. Pull out the bladder from the large outlet of the accumulator. Clean the interior of the accumulator before assembling. Apply the hydraulic oil on the bladder shell and then install the bladder, semicircle clamp, and the valve assembly. Finally, install other parts in turn. Check the indication of vacuum gauge of all oil suction filters and oil return filters, which should be in the green area. Please keep a close eye to the oil filter equipped with filter element clogging alarm device. Clean and replace the filter element timely. For the oil filter without the clogging alarm device, please regularly clean and replace the filter element. Before the replacement of the used filter element with a new one, please shut off the panel button, stop pumping, shut down the engine, release the pressure of the hydraulic system, and take out the igniting key. Check whether the filter ring, filter element, the clogging indicator lamp, and other components are in good condition. Replace those damaged.
Now we finish the routine maintenance and check. And let's go on with the overhaul and maintenance of chassis, which is eager for your care.
Maintenance of chassis. The detailed maintenance specification of the vehicle chassis are specified in the service manual of chassis. Every time before driving or starting the truck-mounted concrete pump, the following items should be checked. Check the oil level and condition of the engine oil in the engine. Check the oil pressure of the engine. Check the engine coolant level and water temperature. Check the weary state and pressure of the tire. Check the electrical system. Check the eye reach of the rear view mirror